What's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Jerel and it's an official.
And your boy J Monroe.
And you are watching Straight
Gay. Hey.
Hey Monroe.
What's up?
Know what day it is today?
I don't know, Jerel. What day is it?
Look at me. Look at you. I'm a daddy, you're not. It's Daddy's Day. Got it?
Oh, yeah. Happy Father's Day to the real man.
Touche. Okay, wow. Okay. Okay.
Before you do anything, let's make sure you like, comment, subscribe at the links below. Make sure you
ring that notification bell
to
stay
what?
up to date on all of our posts on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and stay up to date on all of our
reels at Straight Gay TV on all social media platforms.
Or SGTV.
So, in all seriousness, Jerel, I know you ain't out here slinging pain disrespectfully like that. So, I do want to celebrate the real fathers out here. Happy Father's Day. And for this week's episode, we're going to be talking about something that at one point in my life, I didn't even think I had daddy issues.
Wow, that was powerful.
Yeah. I realized I had daddy issues because if you have a daddy, no one's perfect, so you have issues.
What is the difference between a father and a daddy? Like, I'm a daddy.
Well, sexually, you may consider yourself a zaddy, but the difference between a father and a daddy, I would say a father is someone who shows up for the responsibilities of the child. The daddy shows up for the emotional capacity of the child.
My father, which is also my dad, I still call my dad daddy too. I don't
Same.
care. Yeah, I'm a grown man. He will always be my daddy to me.
Yeah.
But it's two different perspectives. Like, it's two sides to the same coin. Like, my dad is that coin. And when he's my father, he displays this, not controlling, he displays this understanding. He talks to me. I'm his son, and he engages with me certain ways as a father. The dad side of him is like the fun side. That's the side of riding motorcycles and talking about cars with me and watching sports. And the father's the man I go to when I talk about life, and the dad is the person I go to when I want to talk about fun.
Okay. So then what is your relationship with your dad now?
It's really good. I feel like me and my dad have always had a pretty solid relationship. It could have blossomed better when it came to the emotional status of our relationship. But one thing about between me and my father, I did learn to cry from my father. So in certain ways where he lacked, he also made up for it to certain capacities by displaying that a man can be an emotional, and he just didn't talk about it. He was very reserved when it came to it, but he would show it and display the outward emotion with me.
So my relationship with my dad is ever changing, which I think kind of speaks to the process of any relationship, because it changes. He went from one figure to the next, to the next, to the next, and it's been ebbs and flows of good and bad. Right now we're in a good spot, but I think that is because we've both been working toward the relationship that we want to have with one another. And it might not be perfect, or it might not be exactly what we both would want. We are working toward what we think we want. At least it feels like it.
Was your dad present in your household? Like, was he around?
So no, my dad was not in the household, but he was present. He and my mom separated, and he got with my stepmom. And from there, he was always around the house because we stayed in one of his housing complexes. But we would go there maybe sometimes on the weekends. But before then, he was always at least like there. Like, I knew I had a father, even in the capacity of being from a neighborhood where most people didn't have their dad in the house, or didn't know their dad at all.
Which is like, we've been blessed. We've been very much blessed in our lives to like know our fathers. My dad was present in my life. Like, my dad was in my life, in my household. My parents are actually still together to this day, I think 32 years in.
Good job. Good job. Black love. Wait, your mama black, right?
Yeah. My dad is a white man.
How old was your dad when he had you?
My dad had me at, damn.
Well, actually, no, even better question. You're 28 now. How many kids did your dad have by the time he was 28?
My dad had two.
Two?
The youngest at 21. And then the second one at, I would say, Timmy is 8 years older than me. So I would say he had my brother at 26, and then he had me at 34.
Okay. I am 32. And And by this time, my dad had... Okay, about 5 or 6.
Damn.
But I feel like most papas were Rolling Stones around those days, right?
My daddy was too. Wherever he house was home.
Well, among men ages 20 and 29, 21.2 of white men, 24.9% of black men, 12.4 of Asian men, and 29.4 of Hispanic men are fathers in America. So,
Between those two ages, right? The 29. Yeah. Damn.
I mean, I feel like it probably changed these days because it seems like men are having... Well, no, I mean...
Congratulations, you made it. You made it out of the statistic.
I mean, yeah. I think being gay helped.
So being gay helped you're with not having a child between that age. So how did it influence with your father's relationship? How does your father's relationship with you influence your courting style? Because you're dating men.
Oh, God.
So how did your father's relationship with your father influence you dating men?
If I'm being honest, I think it does show up a little bit. My father is a demanding presence. And so I do think I find myself dating guys with a demanding presence just because I know I need a demanding presence.
Wow.
I mean, I think it could show up. And it's not to say that it's that boss energy, because I mean, I'm also a boss because I was raised by my father. So I think that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's my equal.
So you like to role play like the boss and the secretary? That's what you like to do?
Well, I'm not nobody's secretary unless I need to be.
Okay. Point.
Like, cause you really try me.
Monroe, no, here's a serious question. I've never asked you this, but like, and since we're talking about fathers, how did your father respond when you came out? Especially we're talking about courting and dating. It's like a serious question. You're my brother, and I've never asked you this. Like, how was the response?
So him asking me did not happen. I'm telling him.
Did you just come home?
No, I didn't.
I don't think you just come home with a man. Like, I want to know, like, can you explain in a brief summary, like, what happened?
Well, no, I mean, if this is my coming out story on Straight Gay, then this is my coming out story on Straight Gay.
I'm only asking because I feel like as of like your best.
I'm gonna try to keep it related to the father, just because it is Father's Day, right? Yeah. And I think it does play a part in my daddy issues. So my mom was the one that kind of prompted the question, which made me then tell her. Then she said, "We need to tell your dad." So then I called my dad, and when I first told him, I think. He says that wasn't his first time saying it, but I'm being honest. I think that was my first time saying it, but he accepted it later on. And he just told me both times, like, at the end of the day, the people that go into bed with me are only the people that go to bed with me's business. So okay, unless you're trying to go to bed with me, or unless you're in my bed, which most of y'all won't make it, I mean, it's not your business.
Yes.
Both straight, gay, and other.
Did my dad influence my courting style? I'm my daddy's son.
So do you find yourself looking for your mama? Like your daddy?
Oh, I don't know. I love my mama. I love your mama, but I don't know, mama. You kind of aggressive.
Did he give you any dating tips when you were a young child that kind of helped you get your first girlfriend, maybe?
One thing my dad used to always say to me, and I get it from him, I get everything from him. That's literally what he used to say to me.
That feels like a loaded statement.
From my head to my head, he said everything came from him.
My nigga.
Oh, my God. He said that to you.
His own little word.
So now it makes sense.
I'll show you a picture of my father.
I thought he was about to say something else.
Have you ever dated someone that like seeked daddy energy in you? And how do you feel about that when you get that daddy, like not the good daddy energy, the bad daddy energy, like the father energy?
I have had someone and people seek daddy energy from me. How do I accept it? Most of the time it's sexual, so bend that over.
Booty is mine, it belongs to me.
Oh, wow.
What about you?
Actually, in my very recent relationship, my last relationship, she seeked father energy in me. And y'all can watch an older clip, and I say this all the time. I'm not your father, I'm your daddy.
So you're there to be their emotional support? Because that's what we kind of established daddies are.
Who said that? I didn't say emotional support. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. What eh?
Okay, so then
when your daddy is fun.
I have a question. This is off question. So when a woman is calling you daddy, how do you feel about when she calls her daddy? Like, do you associate daddy with daddy? Especially since you call your daddy.
You're right. When it comes to my father, that's my dad. That's my daddy. That's my father.
So why do you not relate it to when they're calling you daddy? There is a concept around that is a daddy.
Never thought that deep into it, bro. You got me. You got me second guessing. Nah, I'm still the only daddy in your life. I don't care.
Are you then saying that you're okay with the responsibility that it is to come with a daddy? Because I don't need to hear you saying that I'm not your father if you just said yourself you're a daddy.
Man, I just want to be called daddy. I don't know how we.
I mean, this is the real conversation that you want to have.
Okay, I got you. Okay. I want the responsibilities. I want to be there for you. I want to support you. I want to emotionally support you physically, everything in between, sexually, whatever you need from me. I just need you to be able to take care of yourself and not rely on me for things that you're supposed to do for yourself.
But that's what I'm saying. That becomes a blurred line.
I know that. No,
because words mean things, people, and that's why we also need to be careful when we are calling these people daddy.
But I'm not asking you. But see, the thing is, I'm not asking you
daddy
to call
issues.
Me.
This is daddy issues,
and I'm not asking you to call me. I'm not asking you to call me daddy outside of the house, but you could.
I'm gonna get you out the kitchen. You're talking about sex, and since we do kind of correlate sometimes the daddy with the sex, does your sexuality play any factor in how you see your father or how your father was presenting himself to you?
No.
Do you feel like in seeing your father and how he maneuvered in the world, it helped or leaned you into any capacity of how you present yourself to the world today sexually?
I would say to a certain extent, because I'm watching my father in real time, but I feel like I've always had my own path I've always taken.
At least for me in my head, the concept of my sexuality being based in my father's relationship or my relationship with my father, because I don't think it was never a sexual conversation to even prompt whether my sexuality was a thing, or if anything, I think it presented itself in how they said a man or a boy is supposed to be. That's kind of the only thing in reference to how I present myself, how I act, how I do, like the nuances of that. I think that's the sexuality of what men do, because they don't know what the concept. I think because sex is such a scary concept to parents, especially young people that were parents. So maybe it's adding the concept of, this is what a boy was supposed to do, kind of added what the sexuality thing was supposed to be.
Whatever he said, add that to my answer. Time for my favorite time of the show, Monroe.
What?
It's mini game time. We're playing Who's Your Daddy?
Yeah.
It's a good mini game. And within 30 seconds, we have to name as many black fathers in TV, film, or literature. We take turns, and if we get one wrong, we lose. If we don't answer the question, we lose a point. If we repeat, we lose a point. Uncle Phil.
Oscar Proud.
Will Smith. In Pursuit of Happiness.
That's not the father. That's not his name. That don't count. He didn't say the name. He said Will Smith in Pursuit of Happiness. That don't count.
I can't.
That's not the father's name.
Oh my gosh. Go, Monroe.
You go. It's not. You have to go.
Oh my God, Carl Winslow.
Baxter. Damn it! Raymond Baxter's father.
Worried about me, but ain't worried about yourself. That's you, Monroe?
No. Thank you. I'm like, you cannot say Will Smith in the Pursuit of Happiness. That is not a father.
Whatever. That game, we did terrible.
So since you did such a bad job at Who's Your Daddy, I want to know, Jerel, when was the last time a woman called you daddy?
First off, you act like you scored a lot of points. But you know what? We're not going to argue. Last time a woman called me daddy. Who called me daddy last? Maybe a couple
I'm
weeks.
just joking. Gosh.
I was going to answer too.
Have you and your father ever had like a situation where y'all go to the mall and like,
nope.
You know, like he tried to get you on a girl for something? No. He's never like introduced you to a girl?
No, my mom does that.
Really?
Yeah, my mom.
But we ain't talking about your mama right now. We're talking about your father.
Honestly,
shout out to you, moms.
I think my dad got all the looks and no charm.
Dang, you just said a lot. Your father out there? I mean, he got your mama.
Yo, dad, I don't know, man. The way you be dressing, y'all think you got it.
Growing up, did your dad have trauma? Because I would say my dad was, from outside from the kid perspective, he was the coolest person. Like Dad, really was.
Oh, Dad, you a very handsome man.
My mama told me my dad got her because he was always funny, so he did have the charm.
My dad had a beeper until about 2014. He used to wear all black Nikes, the low top Johns. Like my dad was looking rough, like handsome man looking crazy.
Oh, so he said. So basically, you told me he just said to his dad was over contemplating because he didn't have no charm. That's what I heard.
But
that's what you just said. You say he had no charm. He always fly.
nah, yeah,
what that mean?
No,
what that sound like?
No. I say he wasn't fly. He was a good looking man. He got by on looks alone, not clothing outfit. He got by on looks alone.
So in other words,
straight
if he
face.
was,
Face card never declined.
Have your dad ever like talk to you about your girlfriend? Have you introduced her to your girlfriends?
My dad, I told you, my dad wasn't the most vocal person. He was a Virgo. He was actually super chill.
Is he more vocal now, or have you? Do you want him to be more vocal?
Maybe when I was younger. I don't know if I want him to be more vocal because he never really was. So I didn't think too much of it. So I don't think it's different for him to not be vocal. The only thing he used to do, I used to bring a beautiful woman home and he would like, good job, son.
Do you think your relationship with women or with the world would have changed if you and your dad did, I guess, prompt more conversations around?
Yeah. Like, I wasn't like the best person to date probably in my middle years. And I feel like if I maybe had more guidance from my father of how to treat a woman, I probably would have been a lot better as a man, like throughout my college years.
So actually, real question, do you think he knows how to treat a woman?
Oh yeah, they've been together for 30 plus years. So I would assume so.
Well, that does not necessarily mean that.
Hey, you never know.
But from what you saw.
What do you mean? Oh, from what I see,
you were there, yeah.
Well, yeah, my dad seems to do a pretty darn good job.
Emotionally.
My dad not a talker. I ain't know that part, man. If I'm young.
Do you think most people though need that though?
Oh yeah, of course. But you're asking me a question about what I can physically see. I mean, what I can see. Like I'm not there for the deeper conversations. Like I wouldn't be there in those spaces.
My dad doesn't necessarily want to be in the relationship of like what I'm doing in like relationship and I think he said it before and I kind of think it's fair is because he's acknowledged that everyone's going to make their own mistakes in their own relationship with those people that they're in relationship with. He's always said to me that he doesn't necessarily need to know what's going on in my personal relationships because that's something I have to deal with or figure out myself. And it's like a part of me understands that because it is something I got to do, right? Mm-hmm. But another part of me is like, well, there are opportunities for me not to do certain things if I didn't know. Because the thing is, I'm going to talk openly in real time. A part of me is like, well, he's taught me the things that he can teach me. So it's hard to expect him to teach me the things that he probably don't even know how to teach. Because if he knew how to teach him, I feel like my dad would have taught me these things. So if he didn't teach me, it's because he didn't have the capacity himself to know how to teach me because I was a gay son. I think I wish he would have taught me how to be myself. He always let me be myself, but there was still nuances in not letting me be myself. And what his version probably of was protecting me from the world, maybe.
So from limited knowledge and from what your dad provided for you, do you think your father, I'm asking you from your perspective, your father was a good depiction of Black fathers in America or the world? Like from what you saw on TV, from what you saw in the world, like did your dad do well? Like was that like, okay, that was a good Black father? Like,
for sure. I think my dad.
No one's perfect, you said. So.
Yeah, no one is perfect. And that's why I think the fact that he did show up and he does show up in real time, like I said earlier, our relationship has always been on and off. But in every capacity, he's always shown that as my father, he's going to be there. And I think that is a lesson that I have picked up from him, even if I have kids or when I have kids or when anybody is in my proximity that is of youth, like to show up for them because that's something that's important.
So he taught you to be yourself, like to continue to be yourself no matter what the outside world told you were being yourself. Now, so to the outside world, do you think they have, which we know the answer to this, does the outside world have a depiction of how Black fathers are or what they represent? Answer.
Okay. And we're saying outsiders or others. Anybody who is not Black.
Basically.
Because also, like, including BIPOC.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. I think that's a part of the problem. We're trying to find answers around what Black men are and how we are around every single person but ourselves. I think that the perception of how the world sees us, we've allowed it to be created in media in different capacities and not being done in a humane way. The community and Black men alike need to take a step back and really, which I think we're doing even with our show, peel back the concept of how emotions and how people can show up just as people emotionally, not related to sex. When we get to that, we'll allow Black men and Black fathers specifically to have more grace to say, if you're not doing this, there's a reason why. And let's get to that reason so we can be better.
Yeah, I don't think we look into the emotional aspect of being a father. We just expect all fathers to be fathers, but not understand, how do I be a father? How am I supposed to be a father if nobody told me how to be a father? If my father wasn't there and present? How it's a trickle-down effect. Like, I don't know how to be a dad right now. My dad taught me, but I wouldn't know how to be a kid, like a father right now. And I don't think, honestly, to be honest, if I got a girlfriend, I'm leaving, I'm out, bro. I don't know what to do, bro. I'll pay the kid. I'm going ghost. Clearly joking. I wouldn't actually leave the woman without the child. I'm going to communicate.
There is something problematic in that joke because, like I said, you are leaving a life. And that is half of your life. And I think that's what happens. We forget that we only look at the mother as the mother of the child, not realizing it takes two. So that child is 50-50. It came from your ball sack. So the fact that if it came from your ball sack and you decided, rather it happened or not, whether condom or not, that ball sack, that sperm now that was yours is now inseminated and built, it is somewhat your responsibility because it's you.
But I don't get a 50-50 say if we keep it or not.
That is fair.
But
so you're saying if you decide to leave and she decides to keep it, you're saying then
like I feel like we should both have to understand. Like you said, it takes two. And if it takes two, then I feel like it should be 50-50 on all accounts across this whole spectrum. Let's lay everything out. Let's look into the money. Let's look into a life that we're going to provide for this child. If we cannot come to a solid ground, I don't think personally I should be liable for this. If it's 50-50, because if it's 50-50, then it's split down the middle. But I don't get to choose if you really keep that child. So if you keep it, I just get stuck with the child support if I'm not there or if I'm present or not. So
last point, and then I guess we're probably going to have to get off of it because I know this is probably going to go into a tailhole of things. With the world that we're living in today, do you think that's realistic, considering abortions are now becoming scarcely illegal in places?
Yeah, it's not fair. So I'm just saying, in a perfect world, it's a perfect world, and
that's why it's unfortunate though, because we don't.
I know it's not a perfect world. So this is like
that's why it's hard to have the question.
Yeah, like I say the joke, but it's a really hard question to answer because I feel like there's no real right answer.
I mean, no, the right answer is, to that point, making a child. And as much as we talk about sex is just sex, it's not just sex.
Yeah, we know that.
Do we?
Sometimes.
Do we? And that's even me talking to myself. Do we?
True.
Like, I think that is the conversation.
We'll let y'all decide. This is not a debate over abortion or being a father or not. We joke and we kid around in topics like this. We try to find a lightheartedness in it, but these are real questions that you have to ask yourselves, whether you're having sex. So wear a condom.
Exactly. Or you're going to have daddy issues.
You're going to have daddy issues. And if you're the man watching, you're going to be the daddy.
You're going to have daddy issues. Yeah, like, be responsible. So before things get too hot, we want to thank you guys for coming again for this week's episode. And we want to give a special shout out to every single person who shows up as a father here in the world, because it is a hard job to do. And we love you and respect you, you Black men, you Black fathers, you white fathers, anybody who's a father.
Father figure, we appreciate you. But without further ado,
yes, make sure you like, comment at the links below. Make sure you
ring that notification bell
to stay up to date on all of our newest content. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms at
SGTV or Straight Gay TV across all platforms.
And without further ado, folks, I'm Jay Monroe.
And I'm Jerel, Innocent Official.
And you're watching
Straight
Gay. Bye. Heart.
This nigga in the room. If you got a problem, holla at me. Always busy when I get in tune. I'm negative below the 100 degrees. Take your time, bomb without a fuse. I'm gonna blow, but I'ma keep it.